Thank you for coming today. I'm going to talk to you about a controversial issue in many countries, and this one is on the fur trade in Spain specifically. On the 21st of February 2010, 50 Spanish students amassed in the central of Madrid location of Sol to take part in a demonstration against fur trade. On a winter's day, these 50 students sat naked or in their underwear, covered in fake blood and holding signs depicting the horrors of the fur trade. However, this argument is more complicated than can be summarised by the shocking imagery of the students. The argument traditionally has two sides. Like we all know, the fashion industry has typically looked to the practical aspects of the debate. Fur is used for clothing, and as Earth's top predator, we have the right to do what we will with the resources of the earth, as we have since our fur-clad ancestors lived in caves. However, this argument does not hold up to scrutiny because of the development of the clothing industry into the fashion industry. Our ancestors may have worn fur to keep warm, to survive, but there is never a need for fur clothing in the Mediterranean Spain. Clothing may be a necessity, but fur is a luxury, worn because it's aesthetically pleasing, and as such we choose whether or not to wear it. Anti-fur campaigners conclude this line of argument with the suggestion that if fur is just fashion, worn for the aesthetic qualities, then the same benefit would be conferred, but a shift to synthetic fur. The texture may not be identical, the warming properties inferior, but only an expert can tell the difference, or mere appearances. The fur industry counters by saying that fashion is not just about appearances, it is also about status, quality, and durability, and as such there is no substitute for real fur. Protesters usually look on the idea of the argument, the ethics and environmental aspect of the fur trade, and with the help of shocking photographs and statistics aim to disgust consumers and fashion labels into rejecting the trade, with some success. The Spanish retail group Inditex, which owns Zara, removed all fur from their designs in response to presume from campaign groups. Despite the fur items allegedly selling fast, dead animals being sent to sales assistants' homes, and numerous protests forced Inditex into considering their environmental responsibilities and removing the fur. The simplest ethical argument used is that the fur trade is simply wrong to animals, as sentient beings have rights, and farming them for their fur violates these rights. To campaigners, the 400,000 mink killed every year in Spain represents 400,000 cases of murder. This argument is questionable on the basis that far more animals are slaughtered yearly for meat, leather, bones, and more. The sanctity of animal life is not an idea that, as a species, we can be said to hold. More compelling arguments centre around the treatment of animals in their farms. An investigation conducted by Igualdad Animal revealed hundreds of photographs of dead or mutilated mink kept in appalling circumstances in the Basque Country. And though these pictures are horrifying, and in some cases the farms in question deserve the label awarded by Igualdad Animal Auschwitz, this is not alone enough to validate the case for the abolition of the fur trade. At most, this is an argument for the worldwide reform and regulation of the fur trade, the imposition of some minimum standards in the farms to ensure the decent treatment of farmed animals. The argument has become increasingly blurred with a shift in tactics by the fashion industry. New statistics have been researched and published showing the environmental damage done by not using fur for clothing. The American Fur Commission has suggested that it takes 1 gallon of oil to produce just 3 fur coats, which are not as durable or biodegradable as their real counterparts. These figures have been refuted by campaigners who claim that though the whole production process from the birth of the mink to its conversion into just 2% of a full-length coat takes 20 times more energy than a synthetic equivalent. As with any aspect of fair trade, there are now hundreds of competing and contradictory statistics concerning this issue, enough to back up any argument you wish to make. The debate over the use of fur fashion is by no means simple. Like you know, both fur supporters and anti-fur protesters can argue from ethical, environmental and fashion viewpoints, and both sides have strong cases. Fur farming has been legalised in many countries, but for the moment, Spain is not one of them, and mink and rabbit clothing continues to be produced for general sale. There is no definite right or wrong, but each consumer, producer and retailer, according to their own take on the debate, has the luxury to choose the participant in the fur trade, ignore it, or just campaign against it.